Okay, now that you've got these other things, the basic ones going laterally in a straight line in a way, we're now going to show you the introduction where you can do it essentially an L movement, a 90-degree displacement, while keeping your eye upon your opponent the entire time. Pretty much everything's going to be the same, except the hand placement is going to make all of the difference here. It's going to make all of the difference here. You're going to interrupt the cartwheel-like motion, you know, by applying a round-off-like motion with a spin on the base hand. I'm going this way because this is best for the camera angle, but of course, clearly you practice all cardinal directions and the angle and the 8 angles in between. Okay? All right. Go to work. I'll show you how you do it. Okay. Pretty much the same thing as before. You know, you're facing your opponent, you're advancing toward him or her or them. You're either giving ground to him or her or them, or you're moving laterally, you know, in relation to him or her or them, or some combination of that. You know, you can step forward and then move laterally. You know, you could wind up facing your opponent right here, shifting back and then moving laterally. The point is, you're having stances and you're moving, defending. You're not doing this, keeping your face hanging out, and this stupid stuff right here, leaving you all just exposed to all forms of attacks and being very predictable, the exact opposite of what my ancestors did. Okay, short version, if it doesn't work now, when there isn't slavery, and you're not fighting 35 people at the same time who are armed and you're not, it didn't work back then, and my ancestors didn't do it. That's why your cardio capoeiristas teachers don't know the legitimate art, don't teach the actual history, and they don't know self-defense whatsoever, no matter what they say to the contrary. And no matter how wonderful a human being they are, because quite a few of them are great people, they're just thoroughly misinformed. And that's due to the propagandizing of the Brazilian government from dictator Vargas's time until today. Literally today. I mean, they just deposed President Dilma Rousseff on charges of corruption, when not only was she not corrupt, but the people who deposed her actually are the corrupt people, on record for being corrupt. Another story though, you have to go to my political rants about that one, all right? Okay, here we go. So you're here, you're facing your opponents. First movement is to displace them and keep your defenses up. Watching them here. Second movement, now that you're free of your opponent's arsenal of attacks, you're now able to move and transition into the on Sarakasi Yemoya. You're here, transitioning, eyes on your opponent, hand down, touch the ground, and you're gonna go 90 degrees now. This hand is gonna move you this way. This hand is gonna reach out and touch at a 90-degree angle here. When this hand touches, this hand comes off the ground. These hands are never on the ground at the same time. When this hand touches, this hand comes off the ground and you'll be facing your target. Okay? So, let's do it a little slow for you guys. We're here, facing your opponent, transitioning here. This hand touches, this hand reaches, this hand comes off the ground. Facing your opponent here. Again. Transition, legs come here. You do not leave the leg out. Leg comes with you, defenses are up. Using all your energy and movement, breath. Transition here, bam. You're facing the target. And if they're stupid enough to be still fighting with you here, just let them have it. Here, just bam, bam, bang, bang. Do whatever you need to do to take them out, but take them out. All right? So practice that and make certain that you're looking at a 90-degree displacement, a translation of movement, not purely laterally. You're going to be using your udanganyifu, which is miscalled Malícia in Brazil. You're going to move here at first, and then displace yourself to about this region to where your opponent is, or here. So their attempts to cut you off will fail. You have displaced yourself further from them, and you'll be able to continue to attack, or escape, or evade, de-escalate, or control the strategies and the requirements of Tier 1. So now you've seen it from this side. I'm going to show you again what it's like from behind, or from a better angle, so you can see the displacement more. All right, let's go to work. Okay, now I want you to see this angle here. It's important that you catch it from this angle here so you have a better idea as to the displacement and the hand transitioning. One hand touching the ground, spinning, other hand touching the ground. Before the other hand touches the ground, this hand is coming up. It's spinning, lifting, bang, here. It's not both hands on the ground at the same time at any time. You don't leave your leg behind you to get captured, tackled, stabbed, kicked, trapped, something. You bring your leg with you with a proper breath, okay? We're gonna assume that the opponent is in front of you. So I'm not going to be looking at the camera. Your opponent is in front of you. You're going to either be aggressing towards your opponent, giving ground to your opponent, or moving laterally to your opponent, or some form of combination of those, which would be a forward aggression and a lateral displacement here, a retreating aggression and a lateral displacement here, or straight up, I ain't having that, ghetto child, I'm out of here, lateral aggression right here, transmission here, that. Notice the leg is not out here, the leg is here. Once that happens, your hands transition, your breath, your defenses are correct. You do not do this. You don't just stand from here to drop here. This guy will knock your head off. His or her friends will knock your head off for doing that. What you do is, you're here, and you transition properly with your defense right, and then you keep moving through this defensive position to here. Now you're away from their weapons, your hand is beginning to touch the ground and propel you to where you're going to. Now, just to give you an idea of the kind of distances you can travel, I'm gonna come at the camera first with the first movement before I even do a transition here, all right? It's very important that you understand this. Just to give you an idea of the kind of distances you can travel, from larger distances to tiny distances. The first movement I'm gonna do with just one hand on the ground, I'm gonna come at you before I use my arm to transition over and displace about 90 degrees, okay? So the first movement, to give you an idea, I'm stepping back here. It's about 12 feet between you and I, right now. Here, fighting stance. All right, what's up, baby? All right, here's my homeboy. All right, all right. You're here, you're doing your movements. Now here, he's transition out. All right, bringing your feet with your defense proper. Hand touching. Watch the distance that you cover with just one hand on the ground. Transition here, and right to you. That's before I use my other hand. That's before I extend both of my legs. It's quite a bit of distance now. You can see the difference. Reaching out toward you here, it's over 6.5 feet. Over 6.5 feet. I covered all that distance with one hand and one leg. Here. See? That's part of the magic of the applications. All right? Here, so we're here, transitioning. Breath comes here, you're moving toward the camera, and then this right hand swings across to about a 90-degree displacement. Once you get your defenses right, you move, then this hand transitions. You're facing now at an angle. Before, I was here. Now, I'm a full body length, more than a full body length, away from you. This is 6.5 feet. Tips of my fingers, a little bit more than 6.5 feet. And I'm more than a full body length away from you. I did that faster than you can blink. And I'm doing that slow for the camera. Imagine what my ancestors did when it's time to fight. That's what you need to do. That's the standing version. That is the standing version. There's another video where I'm show you the basic low to the ground, low fighting version. That's going to be a completely different version, a video than this one. All right, so what I want you to do is practice both versions of these techniques against resistance. Work with your friends who are going to be armed. They're going to try to hit you. You have to work with them. You have to use your stances, jukes, everything, striking with them. And as they try to get you, you transition off. It's one. As they try to get you, you incorporate your attacks too. Your punches and leg kicks and things. Transition, you hit, you kick them again. It's two. All right? Transitioning even with the boomerang movement. Here, transition, heck? That's 3. See the difference here? All of this from the own Sarakasi, Yemoya. Let's go to work. Here goes ATACX Gym. Here goes Ross with ATACX Gym, Street Warrior, and Gio Huru. Asante Sana.